Are you ready to get out of the US? And have you been thinking about moving to Europe? Well, if so, you've come to the right place because today I'm going to talk about the 4 easiest countries that you can move to in Europe as an American. Hi, I'm Cepee, rhymes with Peppy of SheHitRefresh.com, where I help women aged 30 years and over break free from a life of routine and start a life of travel, specifically to move abroad and travel the world long term. So I myself made the move from Texas to Spain in 2015, and 6 years later, I am still here and loving my life. So if you're considering moving abroad, Europe is a great continent to consider because it just has so much to offer. So much in terms of culture, a lot of affordability, the modern public transportation is incredible, top-notch healthcare, low crime rates, and overall great quality of life. But when you're thinking about moving abroad and moving to Europe, not all countries are the same, and not all countries are a great choice in terms of where you can move abroad as a US citizen. So what exactly do I mean? Well, while certain countries consistently rank as great places for expats to move to, such as Denmark, Sweden, Norway, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can actually move there as a US citizen. And you may be wondering, why is that? Well, that's because they may be incredible places, but they may not offer viable visa options or residency permits that as an American citizen you can qualify for that'll let you move to these countries. You see, as a US citizen, just because you want to live in Europe doesn't mean that you can just pack up your bags and move here. You're going to need to get legal permission in the form of a visa to actually move here. And so some countries are harder than others to qualify for a visa or residency permit, and some are much easier. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 4 easiest countries that you can move to based on viable visa options as a US citizen. But before we jump into that, I just want to give a quick thank you to everyone who has been watching these videos. This is my new YouTube channel. So thank you so much for everyone who's viewed, who's commented. And I just want to give a special shout out and thank you to Celia Gomez for watching the 20 pros and cons of moving to Spain and commenting with her comment below. Yes, it is so important when you move abroad to learn the local language. So thank you so much, Celia, for commenting. And if you'd like me to give you a special shout out, just comment on this video and look forward to the upcoming videos to see if I have selected your name. All right, so let's get started with the 4 easiest countries that you can move to as an American. And we're gonna start with Spain and Portugal. All right, so these Iberian Peninsula countries are an expat favorite, especially among retirees and digital nomads. Spain and Portugal are known for their sunny weather, beautiful beaches, laid-back lifestyle, and affordable cost of living. Plus, they offer a variety of visa options that allow you as an American to be able to live here a lot easier than other countries. So let's get into what some of those options are. And let's start off with a personal favorite, Spain. Okay, so what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Spain? Maybe it's flamenco, bullfighting, and paella, but Spain is also known for many other things, for their welcoming culture, their beautiful landscapes, and the country's rich history. So if you ask any American why they've moved to Spain, they'll probably give you some of those reasons, but along with that, a lot of are going to mention the better quality of life here, the low cost of living, lower crime than in the US, and the affordable healthcare. Those are all reasons that helped make their decision when they wanted to move somewhere in the world, and they chose Spain. So call me biased, but I think Spain is the best. I've been here now for 6.5 years, and I just think it was the best decision I made to leave the US, to leave Texas, and move here. So I have no regrets. And if you're watching this video, you probably have Spain on the top of your list. So let's talk a little bit about Spain and those visa options. So Spain is about the size of Texas. Texas is actually a little bit bigger than Spain. It has a population here of about 47 million people, and there's 17 different regions in Spain, and you can kind of think of those as 17 different states. So there's a lot to choose from here in terms of places to move. There's coastal communities along the Mediterranean. There are small towns and big cities like Madrid, where I lived for 5 years. So there's plenty of options here no matter what you're looking for. Of course, I mentioned the relaxed vibe, but also I think the really active local and expat communities here make it a really fun place to move to, no matter what your age is. So I'm going to talk about 2 of the most popular visas that Americans get to come live here in Spain. And the first one is one you may have heard of called the Non-Lucrative Visa. also known maybe as a retirement visa. So with this visa, you just have to mainly prove that you have met a certain financial threshold to be able to qualify for this visa. Of course, there are other qualifications. You're going to have to get a health certificate. You're going to have to purchase private health insurance. But really the main barrier to this visa is being able to prove that you have X amount of US dollars in the bank. That amount changes from year to year, but let's say right now it's roughly 30,000 US dollars for one person that you're going to have to provide and show that you have, most likely in savings. So you can prove that you can financially support yourself in Spain without working. So this is probably one of the most popular visas that is out there and one of the easiest to get if you can just, meet all of the requirements for this visa. So for this visa, you can inquire and get more information from your local consulate or embassy, your local Spanish consulate or embassy to get the exact information. And you also need to apply from your local US consulate or embassy for Spain from the US. You can also get information in my digital book, I'm Out of Here, An American's Ultimate Visa Guide to Living in Europe, where I cover the 17 easiest countries to move to in Europe. Out of 44, I did all the research for you, and I share over 50 viable visa options. You can find that book down below. It includes Spain and the other countries I mentioned here and others as well. So let's talk about the second most popular visa option that people go for when they want to move to Spain, and that is going to be getting a student visa through a program, a government-run program here in Spain to become a language assistant. So this is something that I did in 2006, a long time ago, when I was 26, and I did it again in 2015 when I wanted to move back to Spain, because for me, this was the easiest way to get my foot in the door to get here. And then I was able to work my way out of teaching and out of the student visa and find other ways to stay here. So I was here on a work visa and then also non-lucrative visa. So going back to this student visa that you can get through the language assistant program, this program is great because it's pretty easy to qualify for. You do have to have a college degree. It can be an associate's degree with some programs. So there's various programs, and you can check out my link below that goes over the 4 most popular programs for this Teaching English program. But in this program, the perks of this program are not only do you get a visa to live here, a student visa to live here, that means you cannot work outside of your teaching, but you also get a stipend, which is anywhere from 700 to 1,000 euros a month. And then you also get health insurance, private health insurance, which is great. So there are definitely some perks to this visa. I wouldn't say that's a long-term option, although it is renewable, but it is definitely a way to get your foot over here, or even just to try out Spain if you're unable to qualify for the non-lucrative visa and you just want to get a feel for what Spain is like, work a little bit, make a little income, and enjoy the Spanish lifestyle. So those are the 2 most popular visas. And then I just want to mention something else. This isn't a visa, but this is something that I think a lot of people don't know about, is in terms of citizenship, which is different from visas. But if you want to become a Spanish citizen as an American, you have to live here 10 years legally before you can apply to become a citizen. But there is a fast track options for people who are citizens of Philippines and also citizens of Ibero-American countries such as Colombia, Mexico, Venezuela, Peru, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Panama, just to name a few. There's even more out there. But this is actually the route that I took. I was born in the United States, but my mother is from Colombia. So I was able to get Colombian citizenship through my mother. And with my Colombian citizenship, I was able to apply for Spanish citizenship. And I call this the fast track way to citizenship because, as I mentioned before, as an American, you have to be here 10 years before you can apply for citizenship. But if you're from one of these countries that qualifies for the fast track, you only have to be here 2 years legally before you can apply for citizenship. So definitely look into that if you hold citizenship from one of those countries. And again, I just went over the 2 most popular, but there are actually 4 other ways that you can come move here to Spain, other visas you may qualify for. So please check out my digital book, I'm Out of Here, for all that information. So let's move on to the next most popular, or it may have surpassed Spain as the most popular country here in Europe that expats are moving to Portugal. So Europe's best kept secret, Portugal, unfortunately, is no longer a secret. It is one of the most popular countries, not only for expats to move to, but of course with tourists. It's a small country, but it is so warm and friendly, welcoming. It's beautiful, affordable, has incredible food, architecture, history. I could go on and on. So Portugal is definitely a hot spot. So let's talk a little bit about your visa options when it comes to Portugal. Okay, the reason why Portugal has become so popular is because of this D7 visa that you may have heard heard of. So the D7 visa is kind of like an expanded version of the Spanish non-lucrative visa. And I say that because it's a visa that gives you the opportunity not only to live in Portugal, but it does allow you to register as a freelancer or start a business, which are things that you cannot do on the non-lucrative visa in Spain. So not only is this a great option for retirees, but it's also a great option for freelancers and digital nomads who want to relocate to Portugal. So there's a few reasons why the D7 is a great option compared to the non-lucrative in Spain. It's because number one, you need to have a financial threshold. You have to meet a threshold that's a lot lower than that of Spain. So remember I said in Spain, the non-lucrative is going to be about 30,000 US dollars for your initial application. In Portugal, it's going to be about 9,000 US dollars. You're going to have to prove that with passive income or with income, which is attainable for a lot of people. And then also it's suggested that you should have savings of about $7,000 to $1,000 a month, so about, let's say, $12,000 in savings if you can. With both of these visas, with Spain and with Portugal, you can apply as well to bring a spouse and children. Of course, the financial requirements will increase. It doesn't mean that it's going to be, if I said $8,000-9,000 for Portugal, doesn't mean it's going to be $8,000-9,000 per person, but there will be some increments, and you can actually check out my book, I'm Out of Here, for those exact numbers. You can also Google online to see what the current threshold is for bringing dependents with you. So the biggest difference and incentive to choose the D7 or to move to Portugal instead of Spain is because in Portugal, if you get a D7 visa, you will qualify for the non-habitual residence tax regime, or the NHR tax regime. So what's really great about this perk is that it allows you to decrease your tax obligations, and it actually allows you to decrease your tax obligations to zero. Yes, I said zero under this tax scheme, as overseas income is not taxed in Portugal for the first 10 years that you're living there. Although back in 2020, there was a change to this tax scheme, and so it's been revised to include a 10% tax on foreign pension income. So that includes Social Security as well. So you will have to meet that tax obligation. So this is much different than Spain's non-lucrative because Spain does not have a tax regime like this. And on Spain's non-lucrative visa, you will be liable to file on your worldwide income. So definitely check out the D7 visa in Portugal. Again, if you want more information, check out my digital book, I'm Out of Here. You can find the link below where I talk about not only this visa in Portugal, but I talk about 5 other visa options that you may qualify if you're looking to move to Portugal. Okay, so let's move on away from the warmer countries and onto some colder countries, and let's talk about the Netherlands and Germany. These are 2 other countries that are quite easy for Americans to move to based on viable visa options. And these are the 2 countries where you're gonna find the money, or at least you're gonna find the jobs. So both of these countries have strong economies and are leaders in manufacturing and energy and technology, among other sectors. So if you can handle the cold, then I think Germany and the Netherlands are not only 2 popular countries for expats, but really 2 great options if you're looking for somewhere in Europe to move to. Okay, so welcome to the Netherlands, one of the most egalitarian countries in Europe. And fun fact, it was actually the first country that I ever traveled to when I went abroad for the first time at 17 back in 1997, long time ago. But the Netherlands is a small country. It's about the size of New Jersey and has a population of about 17 million people. Probably when you think of the Netherlands, you may be thinking of windmills, bicycle, tulips, canals, and maybe French fries with mayo. That's a thing. But the Netherlands has become a hot spot for Americans. One, because it's a big tech hub, so there's a lot of tech companies there, but also 2, because of this visa called the DAF Visa that I'm going to talk a little bit about. Okay, so this DAF Visa, which stands for the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty, it's a special arrangement between the Netherlands and the US, and it allows Americans who are self-employed to live and work in the Netherlands. So there are 2 main requirements for the DAF visa, and they're going to be, the first one is that you're going to have to be able to make a business investment of around $5,000 US dollars, and you're also going to need to have a marketable skill. So this visa doesn't let you work for a Dutch company, so you can't be hired by another company, but what it does allow you to do is to continue working as a freelancer, or you can start your own business while you're in the Netherlands. So this is a visa that you can apply for, you can get, and you can renew. It's a great visa option if you have a business idea, if you want to move to the Netherlands, if you're a freelancer, all of the above, look into the DAF Visa. Again, you can find all the information in my digital book, I'm Out of Here. Link is below. All right, so we've made it to the last country on our list of the 4 easiest countries to move to in Europe as an American, and that country is Germany. So 80 million people live in Germany. It is a huge country. And of those, did you know that about 100,000 people who live in Germany are American expats? Really cool. So you're not going to be alone if you move there. Germany is considered one of the safest countries in the world. Higher education is free. And yes, it's free for Americans who legally live there. And Germany has one of the strongest economies in Europe, which means that there's lots of jobs here. So while I always say that it's really difficult for an American to get hired abroad, one of the cool things about Germany is that as an American on your regular tourist visa that you come on, the 90-day tourist visa, you can actually be in Germany and apply to jobs and look for jobs while you're here and see if you can get an interview. So that's something that you can do that you can't do in other countries. Doesn't guarantee you're going to get a job, but definitely something cool that to know about if you are interested in getting hired in Germany. I would say most places in Europe, how you're going to get a job is through your network. So just by shooting out resumes left and right from the US on LinkedIn, you're not likely to get a job. So it is really great to kind of get to know people and find jobs that way. So that may be an in to Germany. But I want to talk about one of the easier ways to get to Germany, and that is through their freelance visa. But I do just want to mention quickly, if you're looking to retire abroad, then Spain and Portugal are going to be your best options, or retire in Europe. The Netherlands and Germany are really countries that you're going to need to go to with work that you already have. So as a freelancer and a remote worker, there's not really retirement options for these 2 countries. So let's talk about it though. If you do have a job or if you're looking for work, let's talk about this freelance visa in Germany, which can be your gateway to long-term living in Germany. So the self-employed or the freelance visa as it's known, if you're a freelancer, if you own a business, or if you're looking to start one, then this visa is going to be your best option. So some of the requirements to this visa is that if you do have a business or if you are a freelancer, you're going to have to prove that your business or your services fulfill a need within the economy. So you're going to have to do some research on if the skills that you have are marketable and needed in Germany. But given that, I would say there's a wide variety of professions that can qualify and benefit from this visa. And that's everything from, working in science and engineering, in business in general, linguistics, in the arts, the list goes on and on. So don't be scared if you feel like you don't have a marketable skill. Definitely do some research, and I would say shoot your shot to see if you can qualify for the freelance visa. So with all the visas that I've mentioned before, all the countries I mentioned before, Spain, Portugal, and the Netherlands, to start the visa process, you have to start those visa processes in your home country. So if you're an American, in the US. But with Germany, actually with this freelance visa, while you can start the process in the US, a lot of people, I would say most people start the process from Germany because there's going to be some requirements to your application that you're only going to be able to get in Germany. So it does help to be in Germany to apply so that you can gather those documents when you're ready to turn in your paperwork. And just like the other visas, this visa can be renewed. So once you get it, you can renew, and hopefully this will be your long-term path to living abroad. All right, those are the 4 easiest countries in Europe that Americans can move to based on viable visa options. So when determining your ideal country, the main thing, and I will stress this, the main thing to consider is if there is a visa, a viable visa option for you that's going to let you live in that country. That can be tricky to navigate since each country is different. As you can see, all 4 of these countries have different visa options. And so knowing what your visa options are will help you identify which countries you can move to. So I'm going to say it again. Please check out my digital book, I'm Out of Here, An American's Guide to Living in Europe, because I've already done the homework for you. I researched 44 different European countries and narrowed it down to the 17 easiest countries that you can move to based it on, again, viable visa options. And not only does the digital book include these 4 countries that I went over, but includes 13 other countries. And you're going to find over 50 visa options that you can choose from that will allow you to live in Europe long term. And if you want to learn more what it's like to live in the 4 countries that I just mentioned as an American, please check out our She Hit Refresh blog post down below that talk about everything from health healthcare to cost of living to the best cities to live in and so much more. Check those out. We have them for Germany, the Netherlands, Spain, and Portugal. And I'm going to include a few others there like Ireland, Iceland, Italy, France. All right. And if you're a woman aged 30 and over, please come join our Facebook group, She Hit Refresh. And you'll find there resources, information, and inspiration on how you too can make a transition abroad. And if you enjoy this video, please give me a like and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new Move Abroad content.